Hi there! Today we're going to talk about the process of growing up from baby to adult. We are also going to talk about puberty and the changes that occur in our bodies during this phase of our growth. Finally, we will discuss what happens to our bodies when we grow old. In the last couple of videos, we discussed how reproduction occurs in humans, what processes occur to allow this to happen, and we talked about the hormonal aspect of the menstrual cycle, of pregnancy and post-pregnancy. Today, we will focus on how a baby develops over time until adulthood, and then we will talk about the aging processes. When we are born, we are very dependent on our parents. Babies are unable to move to different places on their own. They need someone to feed them, someone to clean them, and they can't even hold their own heads alone. Some wild animals are ready for the world as soon as they are born. They might still need their parents to look out for them, but in general, most wild animals are less dependent on their parents than humans. When babies are born, their development starts immediately. As mentioned before, babies can't hold their own heads by themselves, but with time this changes. Within a few months, they gain more control over their skeleton, they develop muscles as a result of moving around, and they are able to hold their heads up with time. They also start gripping and picking up objects. As time passes, babies start sitting down on their own, and then crawling, and finally they will learn to walk. All these changes can occur within the first year and a half of a baby's life. Language also develops at this time, with the baby starting to copy certain sounds and even forming some basic words. All these changes are related to brain function. The motor skills required to move around, language skills required to speak, even their hearing and vision are all related to their brains. So as babies begin to develop, their brains are developing at the same time, forming new connections between neurons. They start learning new skills, developing relationships, and they start to understand the world around them. With time, babies start feeding themselves, they play around with objects, communicate using gestures and sounds, and they recognize their close family members. Their immune system also develops with time. Then, by around the age of 3, their speech has developed a lot. They are able to go to the toilet by themselves, they start playing with other kids, and they start learning new stuff in school. Every new skill or milestone they reach means there has been brain development. When kids reach their puberty at around 10 to 12 years old, their bodies start changing in different ways. This is when their reproductive systems start kicking in. Boys start producing sperm, and girls start producing oocytes every month. With these reproductive changes come certain anatomical changes called the secondary sex characteristics, which is what allows us to distinguish between males and females. Boys start producing testosterone at this stage, which means their muscles grow, they grow in size, they start growing body hair, their voice becomes deeper, and their testicles and penis grow. Girls, on the other hand, start producing high levels of estrogen and other hormones, which leads to the development of breasts, the growth of the uterus, body hair starts to appear as well, the hips widen, and the vulva suffers some changes as well. After puberty comes adolescence, at around 13 years old. During this period, adolescents grow a lot in size, and their personalities change, becoming more independent. Throughout their whole development, kids and adolescents continue gaining more and more knowledge, which means their brains continue to grow and develop. When puberty sets in, the endocrine system responsible for the production and circulation of hormones begins to actively function. This is also the stage where romantic and sexual relationships will begin to arise. Most of these changes either stop or slow down a lot when we reach adulthood. Our brains continue to develop as we keep on learning new skills, but we stop growing at this stage. Our metabolism slowly starts declining, and our muscles and bones become weaker. More recovery time is needed for injuries or physical exercise, and we become more prone to injuries. Sad, isn't it? Now let's talk about the aging process. As we go about our lives, we interact with our surrounding environments, and we are affected by our environments, either positively or negatively. As we grow older, the choices we made in our lives and the lifestyle we led start to show. It's these things, along with genetic factors, that determine how we age. Some people age very well if they lead a healthy lifestyle with plenty of exercise, good food, low stress, etc. But we all know that this is not always possible, so most people end up not exercising enough, leading very stressful, busy lives, and these things have an effect on our bodies. With age, our muscles start decreasing in size, and our fat content increases. Because muscles consume more energy and calories, they are responsible for the rate of our metabolism. If we start losing muscle as we grow old, and in general we start exercising less and less with time, our basal metabolic rate decreases, which turns into a vicious cycle of losing muscle, lower metabolic rate, fat buildup, losing muscle, lower metabolic rate, fat buildup, etc. This is also why we require less food as we grow old, as we have less muscle mass to feed, and our bodies take longer to deal with the food that has been ingested. The same occurs with our cardiovascular system. With time, the cells involved in the electrical impulses of our hearts start dying out. This interferes with our heart rates, making them slower, and it can give rise to other heart conditions. The heart itself is also a muscle, so it makes sense that this muscle also loses some of its function. The volume capacity of the heart decreases and it starts pumping less blood, more slowly. This can be involved in the decline of other organs as less oxygen is transported through the body, so the cells all over our bodies receive less oxygen, which can lead to some of them dying, therefore leading to loss of function in certain organs. Similarly, our neuron connections start disappearing with time, leading to slower reactions, slower thinking patterns, hearing and vision get worse with time, and in certain cases people can develop conditions such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Alzheimer's disease arises from loss of neuron connections and from the production of certain toxic molecules in the brain, leading to a degradation of brain tissue. This in turn causes the patient to lose their memories, and other issues arise such as movement difficulties. Cancer can also occur as a result of the aging process. Our DNA deteriorates with time, which leads to our cancer-regulating systems to fail more often, which means that cancerous cells will escape these systems and start proliferating faster and faster. Nonetheless, our average life expectancy has increased over time. With the development of modern medicine, we have found ways to trick death and to live longer, healthier. This has led to an increase in the older population in Western countries. This means that there are more old people than babies being born, which leads to other problems such as economic issues. Our economic systems are dependent on a balance between working and non-working people, so there is enough money to support everyone. However, with an older population, that balance stops existing, and that has created a lot of the problems we face nowadays when it comes to our economies. That is the end of today's video. Don't forget to check out our exclusive video next week on our Patreon, as well as loads of other awesome exclusive content to take your studying to the next level. I hope to see you again next week. Bye bye!